Chapter 1. It was an early Tuesday morning when Rob began walking down the narrow lane away from his cottage towards Trinity Woods. The woods were split into 3 different sections with 3 roads separating each area. All of them led to the local town but arrived at different parts. Depending on the mood one was in, they could choose a quick or slow path. The locals had named them Trinity Woods over 100 years previously, with 3 paths leading to the town. The left section of the woods led downhill to the local church at the edge of town. He often took this path as it was the quickest, and also brought him to the junction with the main road out. The November wind was even more bitter than in previous years. The lower mountainous area of County Clare in Ireland sometimes sheltered the population who lived there, but when the wind came from the west it was bitter. Moylussa was the highest peak around the area, and Rob often went for walks with his son Lucas to the top of the peak. The high peaks were great to view sunrises or sunsets that enveloped East Clare. He thought about how Lucas also seemed to give the impression it was the first time he had seen the sunset. Each day was a new one for him, which he absorbed with great delight and anticipation. As the descent grew steeper, Rob saw 2 people ahead of him nearing the bottom of the hill. Although the morning was still dark, the light from the sunrise shone through the fields onto the path. He could make out that the figures in front were his neighbour, Bernadette Ryan, and her 15-year-old daughter, Kathleen. He thought about catching up with them, but decided his morning walks gave him precious quiet time. As he found himself getting closer to Bernadette, he saw her daughter Kathleen skipping further away ahead of her. He crossed over the lane to avoid the morning sun as it rose above the peaks. Then he heard a van from behind him. He stopped and moved into the side of the lane as the van slowly drove next to him. The van was a black Transit with a Russian number plate, which was extremely scarce to see around the area. In fact, he couldn't remember a time that foreign number plates appeared in the town, since they'd moved here just over 12 months ago. The van picked up speed and he noticed how close it was to Bernadette, who was forced to move into a ditch on the side of the lane. The van quickly came to a stop ahead of Kathleen, and the driver jumped out from the left-hand driver door. Rob watched and was surprised the van stopped so quickly. He felt something wasn't right and began sprinting immediately. He saw the driver shout out at Kathleen as he opened the rear doors of the van. Rob thought the worst as the driver grabbed Kathleen. Rob could hear the screams from Kathleen as she was kicking hard to get free from the unknown driver. It seemed helpless as he pushed her into the van and shut the door. The driver pulled the bulldog lock down on the rear door, snapping it shut. He smiled as he dusted his hands and made his way to the driver's side of the vehicle. Just as he was opening the door, he felt his head pulled back before being pushed forward and smashed into the door. Rob had sprinted over 100 yards and knew he had only a matter of seconds to stop Kathleen being lost, probably forever. As the driver opened the door, Rob grabbed the collar and pushed it against the van. The driver bounced back and Rob swept his right leg against the driver's feet to unbalance him. He fell down against the hard concrete and Rob knelt on his back, pressing his knee hard to keep the driver from getting up. He grabbed the driver's hair and banged his head repeatedly into the road. He suddenly heard the rear door of the van being opened, and he saw Bernadette open the door and pull Kathleen out to safety. "Call the police," Rob shouted. Kathleen reached for her phone and dialed the number. The driver was stronger than Rob, and as he began to get his bearings and started struggling back, blood was pouring from the driver's head, but Rob kept trying to keep him down. He pressed further into the driver's back, and the driver kicked his legs up, unbalancing Rob for a moment. Rob noticed a knife tucked under the driver's shirt, which was forced into the back of the dark jeans he wore. Rob looked to Bernadette and Kathleen, who were comforting each other. He knew the police would not be here immediately and doubted if he could hold the driver for that long. Rob didn't hesitate and grabbed the knife from the driver's trousers. He moved the driver away from him while still keeping pressure on his back to give him space. He felt the driver grab his leg, but Rob plunged the knife deep into the driver's heart. He twisted the knife several times and pulled it out, before plunging it again and again into the driver's body. The blood splattering on the road and his clothes.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.